The Celebrated Jumping Frog of Calaveras County by Mark Twain. I was sent on a harmless errand to inquire about a man named Leonidas W. Smiley. The task seemed simple enough. I arrived in a quiet California mining town and made my inquiry at a weathered old tavern. That was my mistake. An elderly man named Simon Wheeler settled himself comfortably and began to speak as though he had been waiting all day for someone, anyone, to ask that question. His voice was calm, steady, and unstoppable. Before I could interrupt, he launched into the history of a man named Jim Smiley, and from that moment on, escape was impossible. Jim Smiley, according to Wheeler, was a man devoted to betting. He would wager on anything that moved, breathed, or could be argued into motion. If two birds sat on a fence, he'd bet which would fly first. If a parson preached on Sunday, Smiley would bet whether the sermon would run long or short. He had no passion greater than the certainty that, whatever the odds, he could win. His gambling talents extended to animals. He owned a sickly horse named Andrew Jackson, who looked useless but always managed to outlast healthier horses by refusing to die until the race was over. He had a one-eyed cow that never won outright, but somehow always earned just enough to keep Smiley hopeful. But Smiley's greatest pride was a frog. He caught the frog himself and trained it for 3 months, teaching it to jump higher, farther, and smarter than any frog in Calaveras County. Smiley named it Daniel Webster, and he spoke of it with reverence. Daniel Webster could outjump any frog alive, or so Smiley believed. One day a stranger passed through town. Smiley, unable to resist, proposed a bet, $40 on Daniel Webster's jumping ability. The stranger examined the frog thoughtfully and admitted he didn't see anything special about it, but agreed to the wager if he could fetch a frog of his own. Smiley handed Daniel Webster to the stranger while he went to find another frog for the competition. Left alone, the stranger quietly filled Daniel Webster with quail shot until the frog was weighted down like a sack of lead. When Smiley returned, the frogs were set down side by side. Smiley gave the signal. The stranger's frog jumped. Daniel Webster tried and didn't budge. Smiley urged him, encouraged him, shouted at him. Daniel Webster gave a weak hop and fell over. Only then did Smiley realize something was wrong. He picked up his frog, turned him over, and the truth spilled out. By the time Smiley looked up, the stranger was already walking away with the money, remarking that he didn't see how the frog was so talented after all. Simon Wheeler ended his story there, perfectly satisfied. Just as I attempted to leave, he brightened and said he had another story, this one about Smiley's yellow one-eyed cow.